So if we were to sit down for a meeting, one-on-one, the first thing I would ask you is, how do you manage your workflow? Now, the reason I'd ask this question is because workflow is the engine of your accounting practice. It's how it runs. Now, if we can improve workflow, we can speed up our job turnaround, which means faster cash. So smoother workflow, faster turnaround, faster cash, right? So the question becomes, how do we improve our workflow? Well, we improve our visibility. We know who's doing what, we know how long it will take, roughly, and when does it need to be done by. So three things: who's doing it, how long will it take, when does it need to be done by. Now, if our workflow system has these three elements, capacity becomes a byproduct of workflow. It's no longer two separate things. We don't have a capacity plan here and workflow over here. They become the same thing. Now, why is this important? Well, your capacity plan is your window into the future. It allows us to see what work we have on, what work we have coming up, and very importantly, who is over-allocated, who's stressed, who's under pressure. What we're really trying to achieve here is we want to balance our workload, because if we have balanced workload across our practice, everything just runs smoothly. Now, when I ask people, how do you run your workflow? I commonly hear three things. The most common is I use jobs in Xero Practice Manager. I also hear we use a spreadsheet. And finally, we use our document system to run our workflow. Those are the three key things I hear. And all three have their problems. So using jobs in Xero Practice Manager, the biggest problem by far is the fact that you can't capture an estimated time against that job. There's no field for it, right? So what that means is we're never going to get a capacity plan from our workflow when using jobs in XPM. That means we're going to have some people that are over allocated and some people that are coasting, and probably a combination of the two. But overall, we just don't have that visibility into how much work everyone has on. The spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet, you will be capturing estimated times in those spreadsheets to give you some form of a plan. But the problem is our timesheets are going to be captured over in XPM. So we've got our plan here, our timesheets in XPM over here. So we're not going to have a live plan of what's going on. At best, you'll be re-entering that data from XPM, the timesheets from XPM in the spreadsheet once a week, but that's just going to be delayed and there's a lot of double entry there. The third thing is we use a document system. Now that's generally going to be a series of unprioritized lists. The challenge with that is we're looking at multiple places to find out what's going on, and we're not going to have those time estimates against those deliverables, so we're not going to have a capacity plan. So in all three situations, we're running into challenges. So this is where I'd explain that in order to have seamless workflow with live capacity, we must run our workflow using the tasks on our jobs rather than the jobs themselves. Right? I'll let that sink in for a minute. We must run our workflow using the tasks on the jobs, not the jobs themselves. So think of the job as the engagement and the task as the deliverable for that engagement. All right? So the next question I'd ask would be, how do you allocate your work? The reason I want to understand this is there's two schools of thought on allocating work. Some people do a big capacity plan at the start of the year and they try their best to stick with that throughout the year. Other people just deal with jobs as they come up. Either way, no matter which one you do, Link makes it very easy to build your plan and even easier to maintain that plan throughout the year, because it just becomes a byproduct of running that workflow. Now, the next three questions I'd ask in this meeting would be, how do you structure your tasks? Does your practice offer fixed price agreement or monthly service plans? And finally, how do you do your WIP wash-ups? I want to understand how you're doing your WIP wash-ups, because that's going to determine what sort of reporting you're getting. So after we've talked about your WIP wash-ups and your reporting, by this stage, you're probably pretty keen to see what Link can do for you. So then we hop in, we check it out. This is Link, and where I want to start our journey here is looking at capacity and then down to view capacity. So this is a visual representation of my capacity for the next 12 months. The green represents my available capacity and the silver represents my allocation for non-billable time. So what I want to be doing is having work allocated to me, which is represented by the blue. So what I can also do, if I jump into practice capacity here, this is my practice level capacity. So again, green is my available capacity, silver is my allocation for non-billable. And how we arrive at those figures, if I go to HQ here and click on team, this is my team list as per Xero Practice Manager. So if you create a team member in XPM, it'll create it in Link, right? So Link and XPM are basically the same app working together. Right, so Josh here, we've entered that he works 40 hours per week, like that, and 75% is his target capacity. So Josh, in any given week, we want him spending 30 hours a week on client work, giving him an allowance of 10 hours per week to work on anything non-billable. Make sense? Cool. So when we look across the whole practice, we end up getting charts that look like this. So that's the allocation for non-billable. The green is the available capacity, and we want to allocate work to our team members, which is represented by the blue. Now, what we don't want to see, ideally, is red. Red is over-allocation or over-capacity. Now, this generally doesn't happen because we have allocated too much work to a team member. It happens because when we roll from one month to the next, there'll be tasks that may have not been finished that'll roll forward with time still allocated to them. We may have a task that had a 20-hour budget. We've done 4 hours to it. So that's 16 hours of allocation rolls forward to the next month, creating overcapacity for that team member. So to investigate this, we can click through. We can see our entire team list. And we see here that everyone's looking pretty good apart from Josh. Josh is 62 hours over allocated. So if I click on this again, it shows me Josh, his whole year of capacity here. So what we ideally want to do is move some of this over allocated work over to another month or to another person. Now it seems pretty clear here we should move some work over to next month. So we drill down again. This takes us to his workflows. So this is what Josh sees when he logs in. This is August, there's 62 hours there, and then 62 hours over allocated, and he's got 97 hours of available capacity next month. So what we ideally want to do is come down here, grab some of the tasks he hasn't started. We can bulk select these. Watch this, 97 hours here. If I go update these to September, it updates live in front of me to say, right, you've now got 25 hours of availability in September, and he's now looking much better in August. So I can publish this to Xero. That updates the tasks in XPM with these allocations. Now Josh is looking much better. We've taken the pressure off Josh. So let's look at his charts now. Come back in here and just hit refresh. We'll select Josh. He's now got a balanced workload over those next 2 months. We've taken the pressure off him. Cool. So the question is, how does this work get on Josh's list in the first place? Come to the menu here. We started in capacity. We drilled down to workflow. We want to come to allocate work. This is where we allocate our work to our team members. So we've got two default views here. We've got work to be allocated, and we've got allocated work. So to be allocated, I think of this as all the tasks that we have not, these are deliverables for our clients that are not yet sitting on somebody's list. So we need to ideally put these on people's lists so they can be done. So we want to start by doing all of our allocating our GSTs, our payrolls, our bookkeeping, our BAS returns, all of these recurring tasks, right? Really easy to do. So I type in December, it filters the list for me and it brings up all my December, January GSTs. I can bulk select them like that. What I can even do is I can filter down one further, put myself in as a job manager, and it's just bringing through all the GSTs that I'm the job manager on the job. I can bulk select them, assign these to me. 2 hours, which is pulled through from XPM, choose my due date, gives me 12 hours of remaining capacity for the month. If I update that to 3, updates that to 2. So it's just giving you that live update of how much capacity each person has as we're allocating work. Then I can publish this. Just like that. That updates the tasks in XPM and puts them on my list. Cool. Now, once we've done all the GSTs and payrolls and all those recurring tasks, we then want to look at allocating out our annual accounts work. So for that, a really cool thing to do is we can come in here and we can add client groups to this table. Then we can group this report by client group, like this. And we can go through group by job manager, and allocate the work out. And that's because we may have entities and a trust. We don't want to spread those out throughout the year. We want to do them in the same month so we can file everything in one go. So what I want to do though, I'm just going to remove that filter there because I want to focus on a single client here. If I go to Lily Lemons here, let's go and allocate this work out. So to allocate a task, it needs 3 elements, right? It needs the person who's doing the work. That's Will McTavish. Let's give me 15 hours and we'll do it this month. That puts me over allocated this month. So let's say it was an 8-hour task, make my numbers a bit better. Cool. Ruben is going to be doing the review, 2 hours for the same month. So if I publish this, it's going to update XPM. It's going to put it on my list. Publish that. So it's that easy to go through and allocate your work. Cool. So if I go to just show here, remove that filter, brings my list back again. Right, so if we go to workflow, this is where your team view their work. So before we looked at Josh's workflow, because we drilled down from Josh, but here I've come, because I'm logged in, I've gone to workflow, it's showing you my list. There's the 3 hours and 6 minutes I've got available, and I've got 7 hours 22 available next month. So we've got an instant search here. It's really, really fast to find what you're looking for. So we want to look at where Lily is. I can type in Lily, instantly searches that list. If I type in rock, it brings up for big red Rock Eater Limited, it brings up all the tasks that I have across my whole year. So it's very, very quick to find what we're looking for. It also has drag and drop to prioritize your list. So that ideally, we want to be allocating the work to our team members, then they take ownership of their list and they prioritize it. So we've got this new task here that came through from Lily. I might send this to the top of the list like that. Then go, actually, I want to put it there. So you can drag and drop into the order that you want to do your work. Now we want to create a beautiful connectedness between Link and XPM. We do that by being able to click on the job number like this, and it opens up XPM for me. Bang. So if I want to see what's happening on the job, or if I want to go file a GST return or do a tax return, I can just very easily click on the job number. We'll do that again. Draws me straight through into XPM really quickly. So you don't feel like you're in two systems here. You log into Link using your Xero login, which is the same one for your XPM. So by being in one system, you're in the other. Now, with the statuses, so check this out. So these are statuses that are task states. They're not job statuses. We're not touching job states. These are task level statuses. So let's say this task here, I've got 12 hours allocated to me. I've done 1 hour, so 11 hours remaining. So if I complete this task, that's 11 hours I no longer need to do. It's no longer allocated to me. So that'll update my capacity. So watch this. I've got 3 hours, 6 minutes. Complete that. There you go. It's gone to 14:06, just like that. So by completing tasks in workflow as you're working, it's going to update your capacity live. Now, timesheets in XPM can take a little bit of time, right? A lot of searching, a lot of scrolling. We've made them really, really easy here in Link, and we don't hold them for ransom up here in Link. We send them straight through to XPM. So let's do a timesheet to this new task that we've just added. So if I go add time, what this does, it pulls out a timesheet drawer for me, and it pre-populates the job and the task, and it pre-populates my time based on my most recent timesheet entry. So to do a timesheet entry to this task, I just hit enter, updates my productivity, and closes the drawer for me. Really nice. Now to add an internal timesheet entry, I can click on the time clock up the top. It's got this nice global search, type in internal, select the task, add time because it's been 0 minutes since my last timesheet entry, just why it said 0 there. Put some notes in, hit enter, just like that, and then it'll reduce my productivity. The last type of timesheet entry that takes a lot of time is when you're not allocated to that task. Very common for managers. You have to go and find the job, you need to add yourself to the job, go back and do a timesheet. It takes a couple of minutes. So check this out. If I click into here, and then I search like good guys, nothing comes up, right? I'm not allocated to anything. If I go search all jobs, it's going to look for any job I'm not allocated to, bring it through like this one. I can select the task. Let's say I did 5 minutes work on it. Say helping Josh, just like that. What we do is we run 2 API calls there. The first one allocates me to the job. The second one logs the timesheet entry. So as we're logging these timesheet entries, they're posting directly through to XPM. So let's check out this Lily's Lemons Limited. So click on the job, takes me straight through, go to timesheets. That timesheet we just did is sitting here on the job. So really, really nice. So if you do your timesheets in XPM, we pick those up every 10 minutes. You do them in Link, they'll send through instantly. Now, this is where your team members manage their workflow. So, right, we allocate them the work, they manage it from here, they can complete tasks in here, reorder them. But for managing workflow meetings, we can go to Practice Workflow. Click into this. This is looking at our whole team now. So rather than looking at me, my workflow for the whole year, I'm looking at just August 2025 for my whole team. So I can come in here and have a meeting with everyone and go, right, okay, so Josh, how are you getting on? You can see here that this task is 75 hours over its time budget, and it was due back in June. So that's where I say to Josh, hey, look, do you need any help to finish it? And he might say he's about to finalize it, that's fine. We go through and check out his list and maybe move some tasks around. So if someone was over allocated, but like let's say come in here to Josh, and let's say Caitlin's going to take over this task for him, I can put this on Caitlin's list like that, update Josh's capacity, hit publish, and allocate that task over to Caitlin. So very easy to move work around to other people or update those due dates. Just like that. So that's how you run your workflow meeting. So it's very easy. So you got your visibility from a capacity, so you can see how much work everyone's got. If someone's over allocated, we can very easily take the pressure off your team by rebalancing those workloads. Workflow is where they view their work. Very, very nice way to view your work and then be able to drag and drop into the order you need to do it. And again, running those workflow meetings, really, really seamless. You may be looking at this thinking, looks great, but I'm currently running my workflow this way. Could be a little bit overwhelming thinking about like, well, how do I actually get there? The good news is if you're on XPM, you've already got jobs and you've already got tasks on those jobs. And all we're doing is we're just allocating those tasks to your people. Once you've done that, the whole thing's set up. Now, there may be some little hurdles that you have in your mind. Don't worry, we have a really nice onboarding process. So you meet with me and Ruben, and we just take you through what needs to be tidied up in your XPM. We do that tidy up for you. So all you need to worry about is learning how the app works, which is pretty simple. Then we can help you transition into running a smoother practice.